This week, Colorado man Patrick Frazee was sentenced to life in prison for murdering his fiancee, Kelsey Berreth, exactly 1 year ago today. And now, in a remarkable video just released, we see the prosecution's star witness show investigators just how she helped to clean up that crime scene. Nikki Battiste reports for this week's 48 Hours.
When I first walked in, I saw blood all over the floor.
This is Krystal Lee wearing a Colorado Bureau of Investigation jacket and hat, showing investigators how she cleaned up a bloody crime scene. Lee was the prosecution's star witness in the case against Patrick Frazee.
There's blood on the wall here. There's blood on the wall here.
It was Thanksgiving Day 2018 when Kelsey was last seen in public. Hours later, she was dead. Prosecutors say Frazee beat her to death with a baseball bat in her own home while their baby girl was in the next room.
The spray was from here all the way. I had to clean up underneath here.
Lee, Frazee's secret girlfriend, says she had been at her home in Idaho when Frazee called telling her, "You got a mess to clean up." Lee says she drove 12 hours to do it.
I had been instructed to try to wash things.
Okay.
This ATM surveillance image shows the container Frazee used to transport Kelsey's body.
We brought the tote here.
Okay.
We unloaded the tote.
Okay.
Lee took investigators to Frazee's ranch and showed them where Frazee transported Kelsey's body and burned it.
This is where the aluminum top was, and this is where the burn occurred.
Lee says she tossed some of the bloody items she took from the home on the fire, including baby Kaylee's stuffed animals and a Bible.
Was whose Bible?
It was in Kelsey's house, so I would imagine it was hers.
I don't think we would have known what happened to Kelsey without Krystal Lee.
Prosecutor Jennifer Veman says Lee helped them put the pieces of the crime together. Frazee's plan backfired when Krystal decided to cooperate with police.
Do you think if Patrick hadn't involved Krystal, he would have gotten away with Kelsey's murder?
Yes, he very well could have gotten away with it. But he wanted Krystal Lee to pin it on.
Frazee was sentenced to life in prison, but Lee is facing a maximum of up to just 3 years for evidence tampering. It was, say prosecutors, a deal with the devil.
All right, so Nikki Battiste is joining us now. Deal with the devil. Nikki, I mean, when you watch her in that video, she's, not particularly emotional. Maybe it's inside, I don't know, but she's not crying as she's sort of systematically going through what she did. Why did prosecutors feel they had to make this deal with her?
Prosecutors told us, and they'll talk more about this in our 48 hours because it's a big question even the jurors had, but there was no body, there was no murder weapon, and there wasn't a clear motive. So really, until they had her, they didn't have a case.
Right.
And the prosecutors say, this is just a part of our job. Sometimes this is what we have to do.
And so, she describes how he called her up and said, "Oh, you got this mess to clean up." I mean, it didn't even sound like he asked in a nice way or a desperate way. I don't know the details of the conversation. But why did she feel that she needed to get in the car and drive 12 hours to do this?
Well, she says, number one, she was in love with Patrick Frazee. They'd known each other for years. He was her first love. But she also says that he had threatened her and her children and that she feared him. So I don't think we'll ever really know why she did it. That is the big question.
And was it that fear that encouraged her to work with investigators?
Initially, she actually lied when they tracked her down. She said she didn't know Patrick Frazee or Kelsey Berreth. But when investigators went back and said, look, we have some circumstantial evidence, we know you know something.
Right.
She said, I need a lawyer. And then she told a 4.5 unbelievable story. And there's so much video that we have in our 48 hours that has never been seen before, where you see her just laying out the story that she says she was told by Patrick Frazee.
Did Patrick Frazee try to pin it on her? Is that part of his defense?
The defense tried to paint her as a liar because I think they felt that if the jurors didn't believe her, you couldn't believe that he had murdered Kelsey Berreth.
And what about, so they had a child?
Yes.
And what do we know about the child? Where is she now?
Kaylee is now 2 years old, and I think one of the most horrifying moments for me in this case was finding out that, according to Krystal, what Patrick said was that Kaylee was in the next room when he murdered her mom and his fiancee. But right now, Kaylee is with Kelsey's parents. They are seeking custody, and at the sentencing, Kelsey's mom, Cheryl, told the courtroom that she'd like to adopt Kaylee. But apparently, according to prosecutors, Kaylee's doing well and she's happy.
Well, that's at least some good news. Nikki, this was a huge case. It was covered all over the news, so I'm really looking forward to hearing the details that we never got a chance to hear when it's covered in a minute and a half like it normally is. Nikki Battiste, thank you. You can see Nikki's full report, Justice for Kelsey Berreth, on 48 Hours tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern, only on CBS.